Listen, I'm back by popular demand. It's Dr. J, and I am ready to get this book finished. We are doing our reading, Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And so we are reading today about step number 6, schedule your future self. Schedule your future self. Okay, so drop a 6 in the comments if you ready for some nuggets today. Drop a 6. Okay. So, if this is your first time checking in, hello, I am Dr. J, and how are you today? This book has been helping us to learn ways to become our future self. The first part of the book talked about threats to your future self. The second part talked about truths to your future self, and we're in the third part about steps to your future self. So, I'm just going to jump right into it. Schedule your future self. Derek Silver said to me, busy implies that the person is out of control of their life. Oops. Did you catch that? Oops. Your identity drives your behavior. Who you think you are informs what you do. All right, we are on page 170, almost finished. Your schedule reflects your priorities. Your schedule reflects what you're actually committed to. Most schedules are dominated by urgent battles and lesser goals, such as meetings and Zoom calls. Rarely does someone's schedule reflect and prioritize their future self over their current self. For several years, my schedule was overruled by appointments and meetings, most of which were lesser goals and distractions. They were urgent, but not important. I wrote hundreds of blog posts and several books without having book writing in my schedule. While I said writing was my top goal and priority, my calendar proved otherwise since I squeezed that task into the margins. Step number 6 of being your future self is scheduling your time around your future self. If approached correctly, the principle in step 6 could 10x or 100x not only your productive output, but more importantly, enable you to control your own time rather than your schedule controlling you. Ooh. In Who Not How, Dan Sullivan and I discuss 4 freedoms: freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of relationships, and freedom of purpose. Your time is the clearest indicator of your commitment. You can't hide how you spend your time. To improve freedom of money, freedom of relationships, and freedom of purpose, own your freedom of time. You have freedom of time. Take ownership of your schedule. Prioritize what matters most and eliminate what does not. The more you take ownership of your time and attention, the simpler and easier you realize your future self. If, however, your time is continually overrun with lesser goals and other people's agendas, then your desired future self will be frustrated. There are 2 fundamental ways to approach time. Either it's something outside of you that you cannot control, or it's something within you that you fully control. In The Big Leap by Dr. Hay Hendricks, he explains these 2 models as Newtonian time versus Einstein time. Einstein time assumes you are where time comes from. You can make as much of it as you want. Newtonian time assumes there's a scarcity of time, which leads to an uncomfortable feeling of time urgency inside us. And we think that what is out there is causing the feelings in here. Dr. Joe Dispenza explained, Newtonian physics is the belief in cause and effect, while Einstein physics is the belief of causing the effect. When you're causing the effect, then the quantum field of reality is responding to your thoughts, energy, and actions. When you realize you are not the effect, but you're the cause of the effect, you multiply ownership over your past, over your present, and you multiply ownership over your future self. How much ownership are you willing to take of your own time? The more you say no to lesser goals, the stronger your commitment grows to creating the life outcomes you want. Let me say that again. How much ownership are you willing to take of your own time? The more you say no to lesser goals, the stronger your commitment grows to creating the life and outcomes you want and the outcomes you know. Recently, I have taken these ideas very seriously. To use Covey's terms, I decided to put the big rocks in first. I blocked Wednesday, Thursday, and Sundays as my free days from work. Those 3 days per week, approximately 150 days per year, are exclusive for family and non-work activities. Psychological detachment from work is a growing concept in occupational psychology that shows the importance of unplugging. If you're always working or always available and never fully recovering, then flow, creativity, and high performance are practically impossible. 2 of my primary work goals are to write more and better books and make lots of YouTube videos. Until recently, I wasn't doing either as successfully as I wanted. I decided to prioritize these goals by assigning them first place in my work week. Mondays and Tuesdays are my time for writing and filming. 0 appointments are allowed those days, no matter how exciting or important. Thursday and Friday after 11 a.m. are when I allow a select few meetings. Those include coaching calls, podcasts, or calls with relevant people. Getting your schedule to reflect your future self is a major and important step that very few people fully embrace. It will never be convenient to stop the fire hose of lesser goals. They will never stop coming. Most externally successful people still fall into the trap of being managed by time rather than owning and creating their experience of time. Whenever I increase ownership of my time, I become less willing to waste minutes on lesser goals. Things I'd say yes to a month ago are absolutely no-goes today. I whittle more and more from my schedule and tighten the filter on what Chelsea allows on my calendar. You don't need an assistant to do this. You don't need to be self-employed. Time freedom starts with a decision and is a perpetual refinement. Are you willing to make the important before the urgent? Are you committed to your current self or your future self? Are you driven by short-term and urgent battles or lifting your gaze to be your future self now? Without question, taking ownership of your time demands commitment and courage. Busy can be a comfort zone despite knowing you're being ineffective. Living busy and trapped in lesser goals allows you to avoid the truth of your future self. Stephen Pressfield calls this resistance, as he states in The War of Art. Procrastination is the most common manifestation of resistance because it's the easiest to rationalize. I've been guilty. We don't tell ourselves, I'm never going to write my symphony. Instead, we say, I'm going to write my symphony. I'm just going to start tomorrow. The more important a call or action to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel toward pursuing it. Once you commit to your future self, you'll be required to be courageous. Choosing freedom over security is an act of courage. Are there risks? Of course. Every time you choose your future self over your current self, there is risk. But being your future self now and doing what your future self would do immediately creates results beyond anything you've done before. Yes, with deliberate practice comes failure. Yes, being in the arena can lead to battle scars. It's better to fail at the level of your future self than succeed at your current self. How much does your schedule reflect your future self? How much does your schedule reflect your priorities? To repeat Jim Collins, if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. Once you've clarified your 3 priorities, it's time to live them, schedule them, and own your time. And we're going to go right into the next one because this is good. So step 7, aggressively complete imperfect work. Step 7. Page 175. If you're planning to do something with your life, if you have a 10-year plan of how to get there, you should ask, why can't you do this in 6 months? Peter Thiel. Seth Godin said, ship often. Ship lousy stuff, but ship. Ship constantly. Skip meetings often. Skip them with impunity. Ship. I don't know. The more you invest, the more you exponentially compound your future self. Okay, page 176. Seth Godin is one of the most prolific and innovative business thinkers of the 21st century. In 1999, he published Permission Marketing, a revolutionary and humane concept that focuses on having people give you permission to market to them rather than aggressively interrupting their lives with your marketing. In 2003, Godin published Purple Cow, a bold invitation to stop being boring with the products you make and how you market them. Why be a brown cow when you could be a purple one? There is risk in being bold and standing out, he stated. If you're remarkable, it's likely that some people won't like you. That's part of the definition of remarkable. Nobody gets unanimous praise ever. The best the timid can hope for is to be unnoticed. Criticism comes to those who stand out. Godin utilized the idea of Purple Cow in his book launch. The first self-published edition came packaged in a milk carton for the cost of shipping and handling. With words printed sideways on a purple and white cover, the title sold over 150,000 copies in 23 printings over the first 2 years of release. In 2007, Godin published The Dip, an explanation of why being the best in the world is seriously underrated and how to do it. To be the best, you must know when to stick with something and when to quit. And he said, sometimes we get discouraged and turn to inspirational writing, like stuff from Vince Lombardi. Quitters never win and winners never quit. Bad advice. Winners quit all the time. They just quit the right stuff at the right time. Quit your lesser goals. Quit anything that isn't taking you closer to the mountain. Don't stick with something just because your former self invested in it. Quit everything that isn't living as your future self. Godin published Tribes in 2008, a leadership manifesto, and Linchpin in 2010, a book about becoming indispensable in your work. In Linchpin, Godin introduced his idea of shipping, which he borrowed from a Steve Jobs quote, "Real artists ship." For Godin, here's what it means to ship. Okay, now it's going to explain what we was talking about. Let me go back to that quote, and then we'll get some explanation and clarity on the shipping piece. Ship often, ship lousy stuff, but ship. Ship constantly. Skip meetings often, skip them with impunity, instead ship. Okay, so what does ship means to him? The only purpose of starting is to finish. And while the projects we do are never really finished, they must ship. Shipping means hitting the publish button on your blog, showing a presentation to the sales team, answering the phone, selling the muffins, sending out your references. Shipping is the collision between your work and the outside world. Consistently shipping is what enables you to get your best work. Shipping keeps you going. As Godin continued, shipping isn't focused on producing a masterpiece, but all masterpieces get shipped. I've produced more than 100 books. Most don't sell very well, but if I hadn't, I'd never have had the chance to write this one. Picasso's painted more than 1,000 paintings, and you could probably name 3 of them. So far in Godin's story, I've only referenced a few of his most popular books. He published more than 20 books and thousands of posts on his daily blog. Godin ships every single day. Shipping is about finishing. Done is better than perfect. To quote Leonardo da Vinci, art is never finished, only abandoned. To finish, you release your imperfect work. You send your art into the world, you market, and you ship more. Godin said, sometimes shipping feels like a compromise. You set out to make a difference, to create art that matters, and to do your best. Then a deadline arrives and you have to cut the work short. Is shipping that important? I think it is. I think the discipline of shipping is essential in the long-term path of becoming indispensable. Godin's stories and ideas brings up the 7th and final step of being your future step, and that is aggressive completion. The completion of projects, the completion of goals and objectives, imperfect completion, consistent completion, the completion of better and better projects. To become your future self, you can't stay outside the arena. Move outside paralysis by analysis in your head and enter into the arena where you ship your work. As beautiful as you are, your current self is incredibly limited and ignorant. The best work you can produce now is pebbles to what your future self will create. Your future self gives you permission to produce. Nothing you produce will be perfect. Everything you produce will be from the limited perspective of where you are in a given moment. The books I wrote 3 years ago aren't the books I'd write today. If you spoke to me a few years after I finished this book, you talked to a different Ben Hardy. My future self is a different person. So is yours. Shipping is how you reach your future self. Staying attached to your former work or your former views keeps you stuck. To quote Adam Grant and Think Again, let me get a sip of my tea. It's probably cold by now. I was thirsty. Okay, to unlock the joy of being wrong, we need to detach. I've learned that 2 kinds of detachment are especially useful. Detaching your present from your past. Let me say that again. A lot of people need to hear that one. Detach your present from your past. You might need to write that down. That might bring tears to your eyes if you say it to yourself. Detach your present from your past. And detaching your opinions from your identity. Detach your opinions from your identity. My past self was Mr. Facts. I was too fixated on knowing. Now I'm more interested in finding out what I don't know. As Bridgewater founder Ray Diola told me, if you don't look back at yourself and think, wow, how stupid I was a year ago, then you must not have learned much in the past year. I love Grant's and Diola's sentiment. Although I disagree with Diola's tone, there's no value in demeaning or disrespecting your past, current, or future self. Your former self was more limited in their scope and experiences, limited in the experiences than your current self. Your current self is dramatically limited relative to your future self. Let this truth liberate you. Let me say that again. Your current self is dramatically limited relative to your future self. Let this truth liberate you. There are 2 fundamental principles for continuous completion. Apply these principles consistently to invest in loss and make exponential progress towards your future self. 1, Parkinson's Law. Work fills the space you give it. If you give yourself 3 years to complete something, completion will take 3 years. If you give yourself 3 months, there's probably a pathway. 2, the 80% rule. Done is better than perfect. Dan Sullivan explained 80% gets results, while 100% is still thinking about it. Perfectionism leads to procrastination. 80% gets results. When we put a man on the moon, we didn't have anything near the technology and science we have now. We innovated until we had the tools to get us on the moon. There's no way we use the same tools now that we used back then. Prolific is better than perfect. The more you make completion a way of life, the more you become your future self. 80% of your current self is beyond anything your former self could ever do. 80% of your future self will be beyond anything your current self could do. Confidence comes from completion. Completion requires commitment. Anyone can start, but few finish. The further you go, the less competition there will be. Woo, that's so true. Most people succumb to their lesser goals and gave up a long time ago. Every step you take towards your future self puts you in rarer air. Everything you complete teaches you something you'll use for the next project. Become a master of completing and shipping. If you don't, then your future self will be an idea, but not a fact. Wow, that was good. And then the next is just the conclusion. And it says, your future self compounds in whatever direction you decide and focus. The simpler and clearer your future self, the more focused you'll be now. In this section of the book, we've just covered the 7 steps to being your future self now. These steps will enable you to clarify, prioritize, and be your desired future self. These steps are simple and clear, but take continual work and refinement. As you apply the steps, your life will quickly change. Every day you'll live with more intention and commitment. You'll weed out lesser goals. You'll have more definite attitude about your future self. You'll increasingly know that what you want is yours. Your system will change, enabling you to create incredible results with increased ease and flow. Your schedule will change, reflecting your priorities instead of lesser goals. You'll become increasingly productive and prolific, creating ever better work. And that's it. Then he's just got endnotes. Okay, so let me see. You can create multiple times. I don't want to go into the endnotes, but at the end of those endnotes, he says on page 187, you can create multiple time capsules, a 6-month time capsule, 12-month, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year. Your time capsule is your final Be Your Future Self Now call to action. Compile a time capsule today from the time frame you choose. Make your vision clear and bold. Utilize the principles you learned in this book to connect and clarify your future self. Define your core 3 priorities. Know that despite your best prediction, your future self will likely be far different than you anticipate. Life will teach you more than you expect. Your future self is wiser than your present self can imagine. With your time capsule in place, be your future self now. Being is the first step of doing. Do what your future self will do. Know that when what you want is already yours. Commit 100% to your desired future self. Remove lesser goals. Turn every experience along the way into a gain. Turn every experience along the way into a gain. Cheers to your future self. Congratulations on the investment you made by reading this book. Go now and be your future self, by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. We finished the book. We finished the book. So stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe to see what is the next book. Take care.